Welcome to the Report, where we watch talk about every episode of the Colbert Report from 2005 to 2014. That's a lot of episodes. I'm Alex.
And I'm Nathaniel.
And Colbert's guest is Bob Kerrey. Starts off talking about how women blew up the glass ceiling, so then we'll get to... Caption for Bob Kerrey is so very, which apparently was the 80s slogan for Kerry lotion.
What's Kerry lotion?
I don't know.
Sounds Australian.
I don't know. And then it says one of the captions is written in Chinese text. And it seems like it's just gibberish, but the two actual characters are from the word Hanzi, which means Chinese character. So I'm guessing they just looked at that. And
where do you think they got it from? Just looked up Chinese characters
I'm not
online?
sure. Something like that.
Or do you think one of the writers knew what they're doing?
Yeah.
First segment is on the CMAs.
The Country Music Awards.
Which happened recently in 2023 as well.
Yeah.
I'm not informed
because
on it.
now we're starting to catch up to the
actual
timing of the year. And he says you could hook jumper set. Keeble was up to you to cure energy. He said he was research about it. Maybe in the groundbreaking documentary Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ground. Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, the CMAs would be on November 15th. So the day after this, 2005, hosted by Brooks and Dunn. It was in New York, which seems pretty odd for a country music.
I know. I feel like usually just put it in Nashville, right?
Yes.
Where was it this year?
I forget. It says not to be confused with the CMT Flameworthy Awards, now just the CMT Awards, and the ACM Awards. Those suck.
Yeah.
The ACM Awards is also now RTE. I'm honestly kind of surprised they have the Country Music Awards, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's big enough.
No AMC Awards, I guess.
I'm not sure what AOC doesn't have to do with country.
Well, I know, but what's the letters? American Music of the Country.
ACM is more, and he says more nervous than a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
Good
southern sounding saying.
I think that's a real one.
Probably.
I mean, he grew up in the South too. He probably knew it.
I'm just going to look it up to make sure. And then he says that he's been big on picking the winner ever since he got into country music 18 months ago.
Because there was a bit about every middle-aged man
getting into country music, and now you'll have to. I did too. And you'll have
to,
and yeah, that is a real saying. I just confirmed. And so he says best song should be by Toby Keith, because he said he set the Dixie Chicks straight. That was in March 2003, where they said they were ashamed that George Bush was from Texas.
Okay. That was in 2003 too, when he was popular.
I mean, yeah, that's why people got mad at that.
Yeah.
I know eventually they thought the Dixie part was too Confederate, so that now they're just the Chicks. But
well, geez, that's a little basic.
I think they did make sure that they were. And then he says Toby Keith ever since "Boot Up Your Ass," which was a song about what he's going to do to the terrorists. And that was considered one of the big classics of country songs about the war on terror.
It's really about that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the thing is, he didn't actually win Song of the Year. It was actually won by Whiskey Lullaby by Bill Anderson and John Randall.
Was that "Boot Up Your Ass" even nominated?
That was an older song.
That was an older song?
So
okay.
It seems like the thing is, though, that Stephen actually does like Toby Keith. He gave the speech at his induction to the Songwriters Hall of Fame. So they must have. So I'm not sure if it was after this, but he also appeared in the last episode. So they must have become friends after that. Or
did you do it in character, or did you do it?
I don't think it was in character since the show was already over.
Okay. Well, yeah. Then definitely.
Yeah. And then it's about "Boot Up Your Ass." He said he had the courage to come out against Bin Laden.
Yeah.
Toby, when we get Osama Bin Laden, they let Toby do that. He said also against the Geneva Convention.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he was already dead by the time.
Yeah. Did Toby Keith ever do anything about make a song once they got Bin Laden? Or?
I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm sure. And so his song is "As Good as I Once Was," but he doesn't have the rights to the video or the song or the lyrics, so he just forced to paraphrase it while they play music in the background. Yeah. And so as he put that, is it about some twins show up and ask him to have a threesome, which, as he says, nothing sick, they're both girls. It seems kind of funny they actually asked him to do it. I don't usually hear of that. But then he reluctantly agrees, although he's not sure if it'll work.
Yeah.
I actually did, as you can imagine, I did but listen to both of these and saw the music video.
Is that really the plot of the song?
Yeah.
And that was nominated.
I mean, it's typical for country music, I would say.
Typical.
And then he gets into a bar fight with some rednecks and bikers.
Is this in the same night?
I'm not sure. I mean, in the music video, it's in the same bar.
Hmm.
Then he says the song doesn't say he turned out, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't have sex with them too. In the
Oh.
music video, he gets beat up pretty bad.
Okay. So he's like an old dude.
I mean, I said it's as good as it once was. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not as good. I guess
Like
I
how
am, but
old is this old dude? Like
I'm not. Well,
60s?
probably as old as Toby Keith, which was probably about like 40s or something. I don't know.
Okay, well that's old enough. I think you shouldn't get totally beat up. So he's
Yeah.
probably a loser anyway.
The biggest thing, I think it says, I'm not. I'm as good as I once was, which is as good as I ever was.
Oh, so it's a funny song.
I mean, yeah, that's how country is usually. It's like
Usually,
never. Although
I
I think it devolved a little bit since then, but yeah,
yeah. So it's a kind of jokey.
yeah.
Okay. What did
So
it ever chart on non-country
I'm
lists?
going to look it up. As somebody that's gone into the chart, I think I'm kind of disappointed.
I would doubt so because I don't think that it's not very recent for non-pop stuff to chart on
No, it was 84 on the Hot 100,
84.
number 2 in the country. Oh, that was year end on the weekly charts. It was number 28 on the Hot
Okay,
100 and number 1 on the country charts.
still got up there.
I mean, yeah, he is pretty big. Like,
Yeah.
and so then the talks about how there's also the single of the year nomination, and it says that, like, I mean, they're obviously different. Like Toby Keith's works as a song, run as a single. It seems like the difference is song of the year is for the songwriters and single of the year is for the performer.
So if somebody didn't write their own song,
I mean, I'm not sure, but record of the year is. But looking it up, that's how the difference between record of the year and song of the year are the Grammys. So
that would make sense, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. And the single is Leanne Womack's "I Hate Myself in the Morning," which actually won. And as
Okay.
he paraphrased it, she decides to get back together with her ex for one night, which
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty much what the song's about. Like, I might hate myself in the morning, but I'm going to love it tonight. Is
Yeah.
how the
So
chorus goes.
these are his picks, his for what he thinks, or is it just what he thinks the best songs are?
I don't know. I think it might just be. I'm not sure. I think he just looked it up for a little bit.
Because he does do picks later.
Yeah, and he says we've all been there. Only way to get over a broken heart is repeated intercourse, as this song says. And of course, he calls out to Charlene, who's previously been mentioned as his
X
ex that he hasn't gotten over yet.
and won't get over for 9 years,
I
right?
guess I don't think he keeps mentioning her, but I
Oh,
always said the thing I heard about for Charlene is that one of like the rock band DLC songs is Charlene, I'm right behind you.
oh he's from Colbert.
Yeah,
That's a cultural influence,
yeah.
right?
Then just says they're both nominated for Video of the Year, but he thinks Keith Urban would win. But actually, As Good as They Once was won Video of the Year. So
Oh,
yeah,
was the video funny
yeah,
in your
yeah.
experience watching it?
That
Yeah,
was all right. Then he says like he doesn't think Keith Urban should win because he's Australian, and country music means this country, American values from the
yeah.
heartland of three subs and cheating and things.
Yeah, no, like I think I asked this. Is there Australian country music, like
Yeah, there
specifically?
is. I know. I put this one called the Farmyard Yodel.
Yeah,
Goes me when they're up to dinner. I go "Kak, kak, kak," and the rooster crows in the early morning. Well, it is still quite dark.
yeah. What do they call like the Australian rednecks? Like bogans?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah. Is it like that music for them or?
probably.
Okay.
And so he makes his prediction for the other ones. He gets almost all of them wrong.
Mm.
He gets two of them right. He gets Musician of the Year right for Jerry Douglas and female vocalist for Gretchen Wilson, but apart from that, he got all of them wrong.
Oh, so I assume he's just guessing randomly. Is he
Yeah,
performing below expected?
I don't know.
Like if you
I mean, it would probably be 1 out of 5 because most of them had 5 nominees.
two is like 2 out of 10 then?
So 1, 2,
Three.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2 out of 8.
So
1 out of 4.
so I'm slight.
And if you count the other ones, it doesn't seem like he predicted right for the other ones, so it would be
About two out
maybe
of
two
ten.
out of yeah.
So about actually what he would have supposed to get.
So just if he picked at random,
Yeah, which he did.
pretty much. So that'll get you for the betting pool, and
Now for the word testosterone.
he gets right to the word this time.
Yeah.
No like lead up to it.
Nope. This is a very short word section.
Yeah, he says, testosterone promotes aggression, manliness, and dare I say it, smarts. Mr. Johnson does a thinking around here. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the name testos, which is not testes, but it's the Greek word for testes.
Is it?
It seems like just the way it works is they usually just put an O in the middle of root words to make it flow, like extremophile or
Okay,
things like
so it's
that.
just a good convenience thing.
Yeah. And so the thing that got him mad was Maureen Dowd's essay book, Are Men Necessary, which released on November 8th, which, as Colbert puts it, is a series of essays defending why she can't get a date. Seems like I don't think it's about that. It does say that Hillary hurt feminism, which Makes sense given that Marie Dowd, it seems like, got famous covering the Monica Lewinsky
Ah.
scandal. So
So how was the book received? Is it famous now? Is it
I don't think so. It says it was not well
not
received.
well
So
received?
yeah,
Oh, so how long was it? Like 100
I'm
pages?
not.
120, 200 pages?
I'm not sure. I could, but I don't need to. Men, it says men will always be needed to kill spiders and open spaghetti sauce for women. It
Yeah.
says you loosened it up for me. Is the and as I said, and the bullet point also says sack means you can hack it. And it
Hmm.
says women don't get results; they just talk about getting results, or better yet, talk about their feelings about getting results.
Yeah.
And of course, he gets back to the story that inspired it, which was Shadida al-Rashawi, who was a member of Al Qaeda Iraq, who had a suicide vest strapped to her that didn't go off, so
Does Al
she was
Qaeda have
arrested.
does Al Qaeda have branch names? Like, is there an Al Qaeda like Bentonville?
I
Like,
don't think it has beyond countries where they don't have that many members, but
okay. So why do they have to outsource from Iraq to Jordan? Don't they have a
I mean, like, I assume that they must not have had. Maybe didn't. Maybe the ones in Jordan reported to the ones in Iraq.
mm,
I don't know.
maybe all the Al Qaeda Jordan ones working for Nike?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a bad pun.
Yeah,
It's not
I got it
funny.
eventually. It was on November 9th, so not that long ago. They said her husband did all the work preparing for it, the bombing, and she couldn't handle it. And he was able to kill those innocent people, but
Yeah. So it's just part of the general like terrorist activities in the
I think
2000s.
so.
Okay.
As there's a point of had for years, women are incapable of abandoning their humanity. You know what she going to do with those 72 virgins? Paint their toenails? It says.
Yeah.
And then it says you should leave the atrocities to men, and the bullet
Uh,
point is you might hurt
yeah.
yourself.
So I know in the word they pretend like she didn't set it off on purpose, but really the bombs malfunctioned. She
I'm
did
not
attempt.
sure. It could have been either one.
So
But yeah, I guess it's embarrassing for.
yeah, I mean,
It reminds me there's the Curb Your Enthusiasm where he meets somebody. He says, "My dad was a kamikaze pilot." He says, "Well, he couldn't have been a very good kamikaze pilot if he's still alive." And so that
yeah.
gets it.
Well, if you're a suicide bomber and you fail, do you have to commit suicide anyway?
I don't know. It reminds me of the jokes of like politicians asking for a death penalty for suicide bombers, but
Yeah. Do you think if Colbert were now, he'd be a like Sigma male influencer
maybe.
type if you were to remake the show?
Yeah, I mean, I did see somebody doing something kind of trying to do something similar to Colbert,
Yeah.
and so
Now
now,
on to the interview with former Senator Bob Kerrey,
yeah, former Democrat senator from Nebraska who had just become president of the new school in New York,
which is like a like leftist
performing arts type
school
school.
and research school, I think kind
Oh,
of. It's
sorry.
research and performing arts. It's
Yeah,
founded in
you
the
were the one
20
that looked it up this
yeah,
time.
founded in like 1919. I'm gonna guess probably is like part of the I'm not quite sure, but
Yeah, and
founded in New
so
York.
yeah, he was governor before he was senator. He was senator from 1989 to 2001. He
Yeah.
did try to get his old seat back in 2012 when Ben Nelson, who's also Democrat, didn't run again, but it didn't work.
And wasn't Ben Nelson a successor?
Yeah, Ben Nelson was a successor. I know
So
Ben Nelson has a book out now about how he feels like the Senate isn't what it used to be.
yeah. Well, it's interesting because it wouldn't have been improbable for him to win in 2012 because there were a lot of weird pickups for
Yeah,
Democrats that
but I think I
year.
heard Ben Nelson had problems because, like, I think he was pretty reluctant on Obamacare, but he did eventually wind up voting for it. I think so.
Did that hurt him?
Yeah, I assume that's why he didn't run again.
Okay, and I assume that kind of left a bad taste in the mouth
I
for
don't. I guess.
Nebraska
So
voters.
and so then Colbert compliments Bob Kerry's tie. I noticed Diaz pointed that out sometimes, like when Stone Phillips didn't wear a tie in the first
Yeah.
episode, he pointed that out.
Well, Colbert's always wearing a tie,
Yeah,
so is
Colbert always makes sure to be pretty fashionable. At least,
well, wear a tie.
yeah.
Fashion.
This one it seems like it was much more serious than the other ones. Like they actually sort of acted like it was a serious debate.
Well, I think because I mean Colbert basically just picks up whatever the interviewee puts
Yeah,
down. It seems like Bob Kerr is willing to take it serious.
yeah. This time it was about Bush's speech on Veterans Day that he had given,
Yeah.
which was in Tobyhanna, Pennsylvania. I was looking it up.
Where's that?
It's in Monroe County, so
Monroe
pretty
County.
close.
So south here.
It's not south of here.
Well, Monroe County south of here.
No, it's not. It's
Oh,
in.
Monroe, Montgomery.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, no, that's my bad.
Yeah,
Well, that's sad. I live closer to Monroe County
yeah,
than
you do. In the speech, Bush pushes back at his critics that said that he didn't prepare them for Iraq. Then he points out, "Well, we gave the Senate all the intelligence we needed to."
yeah. I feel like the argument now might be that he gave the Senate all the information that he had it, but all the information that Bush had wasn't really all the
Yeah,
information available.
maybe, yeah,
And the general thought is that he was kind of kept out of the loop on
probably.
Iraq.
And so, yeah, Kerry disagrees with what Bush said, of
Yeah.
course. And then Colbert turns back. I mean, they had the same intelligence that Bush let them have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob Kerrey agrees that Saddam's a substantial threat, but then Colbert points out that Clinton wanted him gone too.
Yeah.
But then, of course, then Bob Kerrey says that if like Clinton had invaded and made and done what Bush had done, Republicans would have been on him pretty hard. They say.
Probably. Was there a reason why? I mean, obviously 9/11, but what was Clinton's stance on Iraq? Was he mostly friends
I'm
even
not.
after the Gulf War, or
I'm not sure. I don't think that.
it wasn't an issue for him?
Oh, I'm not sure. And so Kerry says Bush should have just admitted his mistakes instead of trying to lie.
Yeah.
But Kerry still insists that they shouldn't pull out of Iraq now. And so now Colbert, as he's sort of done before, the guest asks, "How do you fix Iraq? One word." And of course, Kerry doesn't
He
want to
actually
do
he
that.
starts a couple times and he really can't finish it in one word. I mean, you
Yeah,
can't obviously if you're trying to take it serious, you can't
yeah.
summarize in one word.
And then he compares the differences is that the leader of Al Qaeda in Iraq, Zarqawi, isn't like Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam because there's a lot of whole things about is Iraq comparable to Vietnam. Like
Yeah.
I guess the idea is that unlike Ho Chi Minh, he didn't have like a government set up, so
Yeah. So was he? So he was the person who the U.S. was fighting in Iraq primarily at
there
that
were a
time.
lot of groups I think, but yeah, the Al Qaeda in Iraq
Did
being a thing was
did Al Qaeda in Iraq evolve into ISIS?
I
Or
think some of them did. Like I'm pretty sure the founder of ISIS was once a member of Al Qaeda in Iraq.
yeah, does Al Qaeda in Iraq have like a special logo? It's like a variation on the old
I'm not
Al
sure.
Qaeda logo.
I'm not sure if the old one was really a logo. It was just the words Al Qaeda in a
Well, yeah.
calligraphic font, but
And is it Al Qaeda plus Iraq for the Al Qaeda
maybe.
in Iraq? I just think it's funny. Like I said, it sounds like a branch name.
Yeah, I mean it is kind of. And so Colbert says we can't compare Iraq and Vietnam because one is in the desert and one is in the jungle. And so then Bob Kerrey straight out says, "I thought you were funny."
Yeah, which is a
And then Colbert says, "No, no, it's
is
John you're thinking of."
which is a good comeback to that. I
Yeah,
think, especially for the character, because the character is not supposed to be funny, at least in
yeah.
his mind. So it
It is kind of
tracks.
funny how like not that many of the interviewees try to do the character thing. Like I don't remember any of them that openly started referring to his character and forced Colbert to come up with something.
Well, I think at least at this point, the character is not quite fully understood what the character is.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think people get it.
yeah. I think that I remember hearing Colbert would tell people before they came on, "My character is an idiot. Try to set him straight." So that was kind of the
Yeah, so he wants confrontation.
yeah. And so while Kerry says we can't leave because that would signal weakness, like it says, Bin Laden thought we were weak and that's why he attacked us
Yeah.
on 9/11.
So is that the main? I mean, the U.S. really couldn't have left Iraq, because then the probably
Yeah.
Al Qaeda would have
And he says,
taken
he said
over.
Iraq, he says, we can't stay there too long. We need to be careful. And so, of course, we did leave Iraq in 2009 after Bush was gone, and so it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because, on the one hand, the government didn't fall immediately, but ISIS still posed a pretty big threat to it. Like, they weren't able to deal with that
Yeah. I
without
mean,
our
we left
help.
Iraq, and then how long did it take us to get back?
ISIS came like 5 years after we left.
So in 2014,
Yeah.
and then the U.S. was entangled in Iraq until.
Yeah. And the fun fact is that when they leave Iraq, and Colbert does a whole special with like soldiers that return from Iraq, and Joe Biden shows up to give them hot dogs.
No, as
Yeah,
the vice president.
as the vice
Yeah.
president.
Well, isn't that usually the vice president's job? Because probably the president can't be bothered to.
Yeah, I think on the show he says, "I'm pretty sure this is one of my vice presidential duties is giving hot dogs to troops."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that happens on Veep too. I'm pretty sure
I
they
don't
have.
think it's like an official thing, but
No,
yeah,
but I'm pretty sure they have Selena like give lunch to the
yeah.
like Marines or.
Then Colbert says that, like, I mean, the army will be ready. What about, like, the mother of all battles, a million man army, which are both phrases from the Gulf War?
Yeah.
Like, they called the main engagement the mother of all battles, apparently. And Iraq actually did have about a million people in their army during the war.
Well, how many of them were soldiers, like competent
I'm
soldiers?
not sure, but, like, I mean, yeah, Saddam, it does seem like Saddam had tried to prepare pretty hard. That would have been the fifth largest army in the world at the time, they
Yeah,
said.
I assume though they're mostly probably untrained.
Yeah, I doubt they'd had that
And the
one.
U.S. like the U.S. military won,
Yeah.
right?
It seems like the other thing they point out is that probably Stum also would have been too paranoid to make a military powerful enough to overthrow him. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So how many soldiers does the U.S. have?
I think about at least 2 million, but I could be
Okay,
wrong.
and the fighting the mother of all battles.
I don't think they had that many
Yeah.
there, but
Where was the mother of all battles fought?
I don't think it's. I couldn't find a precise place that they were
Okay,
thinking of, so probably just
it's more of a general campaign.
yeah.
All right.
And so Kerrey says that standing down would be a terrible idea, and says mistakes are fine. I made 5 mistakes today.
So he just wants Bush to admit the mistake.
Yeah,
Has Bush ever admitted that the?
I think he has said that he wishes that he would have done differently, but I don't think he's gone that much more specific.
Okay.
And so Colbert's exit plan is that, I mean, you see them shooting guns up in the air a lot. You should just have them point it forward, and that'll be enough for training.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess training what did wind up being hard, as the ISIS thing showed. But the other thing is, they actually do have a lot of celebration with guns in the Middle East. Like I think I heard, like it does. People do die at weddings sometimes when people start shooting guns
Yeah.
up in the air.
That also happens and things fall apart, which is not in the Middle East, but
I mean, that time it explodes though. It's different
well, it's still
because it was like a homemade gun.
it's still in a wedding
Yeah,
because somebody shoots a gun.
yeah. And
So,
then next,
the Colbert tip line.
yeah, this is one of those like fract like
Yep.
segments. And it's just the text is just exactly, do you have a new way to display the fog in your car? Call the Colbert tip line 800-555-0199.
It does not
Yeah,
work.
555 numbers usually don't work, and I tried it and it doesn't work right
Yeah.
now.
Should we call these little bit segments like fractals?
I don't know.
I mean, it works.
Maybe. And so next, the return of Un-American News, which he's done once before. And this is kind of weird because it's pretty clearly just get a foreign newspaper, and they don't even try to figure out what it's about. They just look at it and try to guess.
Just get the headline.
Which I guess makes sense as something the character would do.
Yeah, it was Un-American News. Why do we care?
Yeah.
Right?
And then he says, like, they're outraged at the secret prisons in Eastern Europe, but now they're not just prisons because they're not secret anymore.
Yeah. When did those go away? Actually, because they keep keep coming up.
No,
So.
for sure, but
Were they in like allied countries, like Poland?
yeah, they were in Poland.
Okay. Were they like former Soviets?
Some of them.
Okay.
I mean, I think that Obama was able to stop that,
Yeah.
but
So the first
newspaper was Al Hayat, which I think was Riyadh or something. It shows a picture of the Prime Minister of Yemen, Ali Abdul Saleh, stopping the Japanese Prime Minister Junichiro Koizumi from stabbing himself.
he's not actually stabbing
and
himself.
the term is Harikiri, but for some reason Colbert pronounces it Harikare.
Oh, I thought I said Harry Carey.
Maybe I think that's what he's trying to do, something like that.
Yeah.
What really happened is that Saleh was giving him a dagger as a gift, and
Okay.
I guess they just thought it would be a funny photo op or something.
Yeah.
I know Saleh, I think, wound up getting overthrown in Yemen, and in the Civil War, he got just stuck in the city and wound up dying in the battle.
His sock or his?
No, he was just in the city.
What city? Sana'a?
It was in Sana'a, yeah.
Okay, so he's not.
Yeah.
So he was the president before the Civil War.
Yeah,
so it's
before
his fault.
the revolution, and then the Civil War broke out.
So it's his fault.
I mean, Yemen was two separate countries, and then they got back together, but I guess it never really worked.
So what's the current state of Yemen?
I don't think it's that different. I think there's still a slow motion civil war. I don't think there's as much fighting as there used to be, but
still conflict. What is it in conflict between like Iranian backed?
Yeah, they have the
Saudi
Shia and Sunni different factions.
Aren't the Shia in the south?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, the Shia are the ones that control Sana'a now. So Aden is the capital of the Nuke.
Yeah, and who's the UN recognized government?
I think it's the Aden one. Is the UN recognized?
The Sunni one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then they cut to a Japanese weather report, and I'm not sure which channel this is. I didn't have that much information. These will be hard to look up generally, even though I would really like to. And it starts with sad turtles that then turn into a picture of a sun, and then they hide themselves in what Colbert calls shame cotton, which is just like the clouds.
Yeah, it's a very confusing news report. I think
it might make a little more sense. Like I did see the one character at the beginning just says hi, like for a high front.
Oh, okay.
And then there's a Chinese World Journal. He does say Chinese Language World Journal, so maybe it's just something in New York. I tried. There's a 69 cents for soup guy. Still not 100% sure what soup guy is. I mean, faux guy is a thing, so I think it might be that.
It's probably faux guy.
Yeah. And the text just says Eastern flavored chicken soup, so.
That's not helpful. Then we move on to Le Figaro.
Le Figaro, the French newspaper, which I had actually seen. And Zarqawi is on the front page, but spelled out to make sense in French.
Yeah, who's Zarqawi?
As if he's the Al Qaeda in Iraq leader again.
Okay.
It says, he's supposed to be this is why you're so violent. He's supposed to be a terrorist, but you're calling him a nouveau chef.
They do say that. What does it mean in the context?
That just means like the new head of Al Qaeda Iraq.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
So chef just comes from the word for head?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So head chef's redundant.
I guess, kinda.
Yeah.
I mean, that might mean something slightly different, but yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's not the normal word for head, but
yeah,
which is tet. But and so it says we don't take cooking tips from terrorists.
Mm.
So the Italian one is Corriere della Sera, And we get another incomprehensible cartoon, which shows a cartoon man with an arrowhead talking to some other guy. This one actually has a signature. The artist's name was Ugo Guarino. He lived from 1927 to 2016. And they were abstract, but I could find the exact one, and I didn't want to like pay for the full archives.
If any of you find this cartoon and think you have a meaning, please like find some way to submit it.
Yeah, just put it in the comments on YouTube or whatever.
Or Spotify.
I don't think we have Spotify comments. And
private messages.
Yeah, that would be helpful. At least we know a little bit more because we have the name of the cartoonist. So, but yeah, the other ones seem pretty much similarly abstract.
Yeah.
He says Christmas trees lead to your health. And in the Irish Times, he laments the fact that in the birth, marriage, and death section, there's a whole page that's just deaths. And it's saying booming economy, got to have the boom part too. Then he tries the Italian cartoon again.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, equally absurd, and it's like really, it's fully incomprehensible. I don't know what it means.
And then it goes to the, I think, Egyptian newspaper Al Aram, and even though this is the English one, he still remarks on the picture of a satellite, which is the KEO satellite, which is supposed to be like a time capsule. It says there's a bagel on a napkin inside it. That's like the information that they planned.
Was the satellite ever launched?
No, it was never launched. And this is, who leaves bagels in the napkins? The Jews. So you think, I get it, Egypt, you think the space program is controlled by Jews.
And then he tells them they should check it, because actually the Jews just control the media.
Yeah.
Not
I know he does. Space. The thing is, he actually does make jokes about, like, Egyptians thinking odd things are related to the Jews, like when they had shark attacks, them thinking it was Jews. Like, there's a funny poster of me. I'm pretty sure that was the movie poster. It wasn't Jaws, it was Jews.
Because the shark look a...
Yes, okay. It does give... Yeah. And then he tries to go back to the Italian cartoon and just gives up. This is a very complex symbology.
Yeah.
And the Guardian thing is, what happened to Christmas goats is the final one. And then it says, we don't need to know. For all we know, the CIA president... He says, what the hell is a Christmas goat?
What is a Christmas goat?
It seems like the thing is, I looked up the article, it's the Oxfam charity will buy goats for people in other countries.
Oh, okay.
So that's so you can make a donation to do that.
Okay. Well, I guess that's worthwhile.
Yeah. And finally...
a segment on the Internet's anniversary.
I was a bit confused because the anniversary of the Internet itself is often said to be in October 1969, but this is the World Wide Web, which is not technically the same thing as the Internet.
What is the difference?
The Internet is just the interconnections. The World Wide Web is like the actual format of web pages and things like that.
So on the Internet, you could like send a message.
Yeah.
But you couldn't look something up.
Yeah, probably not.
But the web is what allows you to look up web pages, pages.
Yeah.
So, and that's a big innovation.
And I think the biggest innovation was just the fact that web pages were linked to other web pages.
Yeah. So, really, I think it is fair when people say the internet was started in 1969. That's not quite true.
Yeah.
Because most people wouldn't be able to use
the World Wide Web is definitely
a bigger thing.
Yeah. And it says, and it seems like usually when he does the segments where he's standing somewhere, he says, "Oh, hi, you caught me," but now he just says hello in this one.
Yeah.
It says 15th anniversary of the first web page. If you think about it, it means it's farther away. Now is farther away now than, but not by that much.
Like, it's not even, right?
Yeah, so it's 18 years since then and 15 years between then. So
33 years all in all.
And it says it was there used to be a place with that websites like Google and knockedupandguntoting.org. I checked and somebody did claim the website in 2005, but it doesn't seem like it was ever used.
Oh, unfortunately.
And then he says, many became millionaires off of the internet and many did not. Also, I'll see you in court, toilet paper delivered to your door.com, which does not seem to have been claimed.
Until now.
Yeah, maybe we could. No, sure. And so, to celebrate it, he buys himself a chocolate portrait of Viggo Mortensen.
Off eBay.
Yeah. I feel like this is the first time that the character has like acknowledged Stephen Colbert's real world love for Lord of the Rings. I mean, this is more oblique, but it's definitely this is the first thing. I mean, he does get to bring that up plenty of times throughout the show and school James Franco on his knowledge of Lord of the Rings.
He does do that, yeah.
Yeah.
So he brings out the chocolate portrait. That's what he puts up on his display. Does he still have the Rock'em Sock'em?
I think so. I know he has them until he moves studios, at least.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, until he renovates the studio. I don't think he ever moves.
Yeah. So, do you think he ever ate the chocolate portrait?
As I said, he says he can't eat the whole things, but then I won't have my portrait. He says he calls it his life-affirming portrait.
But it would melt eventually.
No, his life-affirming purchase.
Yeah, but I mean, in real life, it would melt, right?
Maybe.
Like, so I just wonder, like, out of character, did he eat it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. And then he says, Tim Berners-Lee is a true American hero who happens to be English. I said at the end, says, until once again we say hello again, goodbye again. Yep. So, goodbye again.
Until we say, goodbye. Signing off.